Barrel rolled is the reporter thrown into the secretive world of the Forex Super Model, where nothing is as it seems. Beware the techno-monk, and steer clear of Professor Code and his two assistants. Give the senior trader a wide berth, and don't expect any sense from the risk manager.
Good morning, I'm Professor Code and this is the Forex Super Model daily briefing for Tuesday the 1st of December 2020. Right, the time is 05:10 London time GMT, Asian session coming to a close, European session kicking off, our lunchtime North American US session. Right, so let's make a start. So what happened yesterday? Monday, which was the 30th, the last day of November. So let's have a look. Euro yen on the negative. Pound dollar on the positive. So let's put the figures in. Plus 70 on the dollar. Plus 21 on the pound, minus 33 on the yen, and minus 58 on the euro. So this was Monday, yesterday, the 30th of the 11th. That was for the whole day. So we've got a positive opposed driver in the dollar. So it's opposed. We've got a positive rock in the pound, a negative mover in the yen, and a negative secondary driver in the euro. Right, so let's look at the intra-week flows, which are the flows from Monday opening yesterday through to where we are now. Obviously these are early intra-week flows, but that's what we've got. So we've got yen on the negative, dollar, euro, pound on the positive. So we've got plus 130 for the pound, euro is plus 20, and the dollar is plus 6. And this is minus 136, sorry, 156. So this is from Monday the 30th, yesterday open, until about half an hour ago. Right, so we've got a negative opposed driver in the yen, so unopposed, sorry. What I'm talking about, unopposed. Positive rock in the dollar, positive mover in the euro, and positive secondary driver in the pound. Right, so before we talk, let's just polish off the flows so far today. So let's have a look. We've got yen dollar on the negative, euro pound on the positive. Right, so plus 103 on the pound, plus 60 on the euro, minus 65 on the dollar, and minus 98 on the yen. So this is today, Tuesday, the 1st of the 12th, open to about half an hour ago. So we've got just about a positive opposed driver in the pound, as opposed by the euro. So we've got positive rock, negative mover, in the dollar and a negative secondary driver in the yen. Right, so let's make some sense out of that. Yesterday, and if you remember, we were expecting pound strength to a certain degree, yen weakness, and dollar to be on the weaker side. But the dollar actually came up yesterday, and it was the opposed positive driver. So flows were going into the dollar, people were buying the dollar, and then the opposing negative flows were predominantly going out of the euro and to a lesser extent the yen, with the pound being fairly static as the rock. So far this week, now this is the interesting point, so far this week, so that's from Monday open till about now, we've got the yen being the unopposed negative driver, so it's very weak to the exception of everything else. So yen, people are getting out of the yen, likely off the back of the risk on equity flows. However, we've got positive opposing flows going predominantly into the pound, and very little secondary flows into the euro and the dollar. No secondary flows because we're unopposed, but we've got little flows going into the euro and the dollar. So just to remember, if you get an unopposed, in this case negative driver, that can be a floor. So the yen we could be seeing a short-term floor in the yen. In other words, we might see some yen strength, or it can be the start of a major positioning, so a further ramping yen weakening. So we'll discuss that in a minute. But so far today then, we've got pound strength just overcoming yen weakness. So the pound is the opposed positive driver at 103 plus 103. The opposing flows are quite equally balanced. They're going out of the yen and out of the pound, with the euro reasonably positive as the rock. So just to recap on our positions, our positions have completely recovered now, and we're well over the 2,000 point mark on the pound long trades. Our euro yen shorter term swing trade is about 30 points to the good. So it's all excuse me, it's all moving ultimately as we expected, but it's been obviously fairly rocky ride in terms of the general market conditions. Excuse me again. Right, so let's make some sense out of this, and just a final point before we do that. As I said, this week and early into next week, basically we've got a raft of data releases, meetings, minutes, you name it, to the point where you don't even need to worry about what each individual one is. Just accept that that every sort of 2 or 3 hours of the main trading days, the markets are going to be subject to headline risk and being knocked about through short-term traders and headline traders fiddling with their positions. So let's make some sense of this then. So what do we think is going to happen today off the basis of this? Now, as I said, we were expecting a bit of dollar weakness yesterday, but we got a delayed reaction effectively, and we're expecting we suggested going long pound dollar. Now the pound was the positive rock yesterday, and the dollar actually outstripped the pound in terms of, remember these are complex flows, not individual pair flows, and the actual let's have a look. pound dollar. The pound dollar yesterday was -10 from the open to the close. So we were technically wrong in the short-term flows, but only by a short margin, and obviously we've been subsequently proved right as this session has progressed today. So there was a bit of a lag in the system, but that's by the by. So let's make some space and then get off the fence. Right. So so far this week, as I said, this is the interesting thing to look at here, the unopposed nature of the yen on the negative side, and this can either be a short-term floor in the yen, in other words the yen's going to start strengthening from here, or it can be the start of a further ramp down. Now remember that the yen is often linked with the equity market, equity transmissions, quite dominant in yen pair trading, and normally when you get a rise in equities, you get a fall in the yen complex. So it's negatively correlated normally, not always, but normally. So I remember where we are with the yen. The yen was at pretty high levels on a monthly basis. It came down last month about 300 and change points. So it started to drop, but it's obviously got further to go. So that's a bit of context. So looking at the flows today, they're balancing up. They're starting to, now this is useful to observe, because whilst, remember, so far this week we've had this unopposed version of the yen, so nobody wants to know anything else. Flows out of the yen into everything else. Now we're starting to get flows out of the yen, but we're also getting flows out of the dollar. So this morning, so the dollar is starting to weaken, as is the yen. But the yen's obviously losing its crown as the unopposed negative driver. So that is something which we would be paying attention to, because there's a subtle shift in the way the market's behaving. Now this suggests that the yen is going to slow up, certainly. Whether it's actually a short-term floor in the yen is another matter. We're going to go probably, the markets always tend to overshoot, so I think we'll go neutral to weak on the yen, because they tend to overshoot. The dollar, however, I would suggest is likely to weaken in a more consistent manner. So that leaves us with the euro and the pound. Remember, these are complexes and not individual pairs, just to reiterate that. So we've got neutral to soft flows out of the yen. We've got harder flows out of the dollar probably today. Therefore these negative flows are going to have to go into something, and they're obviously going to have to go into either the euro or the pound complexes. Now we're back to where we were effectively yesterday morning, where the most likely strongest flows are going to be on the pound dollar. So the dollar, if it's dropping and the pound's going to receive these opposing flows, then again we will be sticking our stick in on long pound dollar. And then if the dollar's dropping, what the dollar complex is made up of the euro dollar, but if the euro is getting opposing positive flows, then that's going to be buffered out a bit. So the euro dollar whilst it might go up a little bit, is going to be buffered. And then you've got the pound, sorry, the dollar yen. So you've got the dollar and the yen again being buffered, because the yen's probably neutral to weak, and the dollar's weak. So the dollar yen is likely to be buffered. So the clear winner is the pound dollar in this case. And if you want to look at secondary pairs, then you're looking at maybe the euro dollar is, as I said, will be buffered, but the euro yen is another possibility. So which, if you remember, we're long euro yen. So euro yen long is, so that's a double star if you like, and that's a single star. So we expect the euro yen to keep chunking away with backdoor flows on the up, but the main mover should be, in theory, the pound dollar today. So I hope that was useful, and thank you very much.